Welcome to our journey through the Beatitudes, 8 verses from the Sermon on the Mount, a guide to blessed living. These ancient words, spoken by Jesus himself, offer a path to a life filled with meaning, purpose, and yes, even joy. Over the next few chapters, we'll explore each beatitude, delving into their depths to uncover the wisdom they hold. We'll discover how these teachings, though spoken centuries ago, still resonate with a profound relevance to our modern lives. Today, we'll embark on a journey of self-discovery, exploring the transformative power of these teachings. We'll learn how the Beatitudes can reshape our understanding of the world and guide us towards a life that is truly blessed. So, let's begin this exploration with open hearts and minds, ready to receive the wisdom that has echoed through generations. Let the journey to a more blessed life begin. Chapter 2. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. These words, the very first of the Beatitudes, might seem paradoxical at first. How can poverty, even a spiritual one, be a source of blessing? To be poor in spirit is not about financial status, but rather an inward humility, a recognition of our own spiritual need. It's about acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, that we are dependent on something greater than ourselves. This humility, this acknowledgement of our need for something beyond ourselves, opens us up to the divine. It allows us to approach life with a sense of wonder, a willingness to learn and grow. It is in this space of humility that we find ourselves open to receiving the kingdom of heaven. We become receptive to the grace and love that flow from a power greater than ourselves. This kingdom of heaven is not some distant realm reserved for the afterlife. It exists here and now within each and every one of us. It is a state of being, a connection to the divine that transcends our earthly concerns. When we empty ourselves of ego and pride, when we recognize our own spiritual poverty, we create space for this kingdom to take root within us. We become vessels for a love and grace that transforms us from the inside out. This transformation isn't always easy. It requires us to confront our own limitations, to acknowledge our need for guidance and support. But it is in this surrender, this letting go, that we discover true freedom. The kingdom of heaven is not a reward for being poor in spirit. It is a state of being that becomes accessible through humility. It is a gift freely given to those who are willing to acknowledge their need for it. Chapter 3. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Life, as we all know, is a tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow. To be human is to experience both the highs and lows, the moments of exhilaration and the times of profound grief. Blessed are those who mourn, Jesus tells us, for they will be comforted. Mourning in this context extends beyond the loss of a loved one. It encompasses all forms of sorrow, the pain of heartbreak, the sting of disappointment, the despair of shattered dreams. It is an acknowledgement of the brokenness that exists in the world, both within us and around us. To mourn is not to wallow in despair, but to embrace the full spectrum of human experience. It is to allow ourselves to feel the weight of our sorrows, to acknowledge their presence in our lives. This acknowledgement, this willingness to sit with our pain is often the first step towards healing and comfort. It is in the depths of our sorrow that we discover a wellspring of resilience and strength we never knew we possessed. The comfort promised to those who mourn is not about erasing our pain or denying its existence. It is about finding solace and support in the midst of our suffering. It is about discovering that we are not alone in our grief. This comfort can come from various sources: the love of friends and family, the support of a community, the solace found in faith or spirituality. It can also arise from within, a deep well of inner strength and resilience that we discover in our times of need. The process of mourning, of allowing ourselves to grieve and heal, can be a transformative experience. It can soften our hearts, deepen our empathy, and connect us more deeply to the human experience. Through mourning, we learn to appreciate the preciousness of life, the fragility of joy, and the enduring power of love. We emerge from our grief stronger, more compassionate, and more deeply connected to ourselves and the world around us. Chapter 4. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. In the clamor and rush of our modern world, it's easy to think strength lies in dominance, in asserting oneself above all else. But there's another kind of strength, a quieter strength, found in the gentle heart, the humble spirit. This is the strength of the meek. Meekness isn't weakness, no sir. It's not about backing down or allowing yourself to be walked upon. True meekness resides in knowing oneself, understanding one's place in the grand tapestry of life, and choosing humility over arrogance. Think of those wildflowers, bending to the wind, yet resilient, enduring. They don't fight the breeze, they sway with it, finding strength in their flexibility. That's the heart of meekness. It's about approaching life with an open hand, not a clenched fist, about listening more than you speak, about leading by serving. And in that yielding, in that quiet strength, lies a profound power. Now, inheriting the earth, that doesn't necessarily mean inheriting acres of land, though I wouldn't mind a few more myself. It's about inheriting something far greater, something more profound. It's about inheriting a sense of belonging, a deep connection to life itself. You see, when we approach the world with meekness, with humility, we open ourselves up to experiencing its wonders more fully. We become more attuned to the beauty around us, the interconnectedness of all things. We begin to see that the earth isn't ours to conquer, but a gift to cherish, to nurture. And in that cherishing, in that nurturing, we find true inheritance, a legacy far richer than any material possession. The meek, they understand this. They know that true strength lies in gentleness, in humility, and it's in that understanding, in that way of being, that they truly inherit the earth. Chapter 5. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Deep within the human spirit, there exists a longing, a yearning for something more, something beyond the everyday. It's a hunger, a thirst, not for food or drink, but for righteousness, for justice, for fairness, in a world that often seems anything but. This hunger, it gnaws at us, reminds us that something isn't right, that things could be better. It compels us to question, to challenge, to raise our voices against injustice wherever we find it. Think of those who have marched for equality, who have fought for the rights of the marginalized, who have dedicated their lives to making the world a more just and equitable place. They are driven by this hunger, this thirst for righteousness. They understand that true fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating wealth or power, but from aligning ourselves with what is right, with what is good. And when we dedicate ourselves to this pursuit of righteousness, when we allow that hunger to guide our actions, we discover something remarkable. We discover that we are filled not with material possessions, but with something far more substantial. We are filled with a sense of purpose, a knowing that our lives have meaning beyond ourselves. We are filled with the satisfaction that comes from standing up for what we believe in, from making a difference in the world, however small. And most importantly, we are filled with the knowledge that we are not alone in this pursuit. There are countless others who share this hunger, this thirst for a better world. Together, united by this common purpose, we can work to quench that thirst, to create a world where justice and righteousness prevail. Chapter 6, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Mercy. It's a word that evokes a certain tenderness, a willingness to forgive, to show compassion when perhaps it's not deserved. In a world that often celebrates retribution, mercy stands as a radical act, a testament to the power of forgiveness. You see, mercy isn't about condoning wrongdoing or turning a blind eye to injustice. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of every human being, even those who have strayed from the path. It's about offering a hand up, a second chance, an opportunity for redemption. It's about understanding that we all make mistakes, that we all fall short sometimes, and that we all deserve a chance to make things right. Mercy is a powerful force, capable of breaking down walls of anger and resentment, of healing old wounds and fostering reconciliation. It's the foundation upon which true forgiveness is built. Now, the promise of being shown mercy, that's not about some cosmic transaction, some divine quid pro quo. It's about understanding that the way we treat others ultimately shapes the way we experience the world. When we offer mercy, when we choose forgiveness over anger, compassion over judgment, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. We contribute to a more merciful world, a world where grace and understanding prevail. And in that world, in that atmosphere of forgiveness, we ourselves are more likely to experience mercy when we falter, when we stumble, because the seeds of mercy we sow, they have a way of finding their way back to us. So let us strive to be merciful in our interactions with others, to offer forgiveness freely, to meet anger with compassion. For in doing so, we not only create a more just and merciful world, but we also open ourselves up to receiving the same grace and understanding in return. Chapter 7, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. In the tapestry of the Beatitudes, we encounter a thread of exquisite beauty and profound depth. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. But what does it mean to possess a pure heart in a world awash with complexities and contradictions? Purity transcends mere outward actions. It delves into our thoughts, motives, and intentions. A pure heart aligns our inner world with our outer expressions. Imagine a pristine mountain stream reflecting the heavens above. This is akin to the pure heart, untainted by deceit or malice. It seeks truth, embraces goodness, and radiates love. From this purity springs the ability to see God, not with our physical eyes, but with the eyes of our soul. When unclouded by negativity, we become receptive to the divine presence. The world often bombards us with distractions, yet within each of us resides the potential for purity. Cultivating a pure heart requires conscious effort. It involves examining our thoughts and motives, letting go of negativity. It is a journey of self-reflection and refinement. As we purify our hearts, we perceive the world differently. We recognize the interconnectedness of all beings. And in moments of clarity, we catch glimpses of the divine. We see God's hand in nature, kindness, and resilience. The kingdom of heaven is a state of being accessible to all with a pure heart. Chapter 8, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. peace. It's a word that echoes through the ages, a universal yearning whispered on the wind. Achieving peace demands courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to stand in the gap between conflict and understanding. Peace isn't simply the absence of war, it's the presence of justice, the balm of forgiveness, it's the hard work of reconciliation, the patient unraveling of knots of anger and resentment. The path of a peacemaker isn't paved with ease. It's often fraught with challenges, misunderstandings, even rejection. But it's in those moments when we choose empathy over judgment, understanding over condemnation, that we embody the spirit of peace. For the peacemakers, the ones who dare to mend broken hearts and fractured communities, theirs is a legacy woven into the very fabric of humanity. They are the healers, the bridge builders, the whisperers of hope in a world desperate for harmony. In the Beatitudes, Jesus tells us, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Think about that for a moment. Children of God, it's a title bestowed not by blood, but by action, by aligning our hearts with the very essence of the divine. For God, in all his wisdom and grace, is a God of peace. He calls us to be peacemakers, not because it's easy, but because it's right. It's a reflection of his love, his compassion, his desire for unity and reconciliation. When we strive for peace in our own lives, in our relationships, in our communities, we become vessels of that divine love. We become instruments of healing, beacons of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. So let us be peacemakers, not out of obligation, but out of a deep and abiding love. Let us be the light that shines in the darkness, the bridge that connects hearts and minds, the embodiment of peace in a world so desperately in need of it. Chapter 9, Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Standing up for what you believe in is never easy, especially when it means facing opposition, ridicule, or even persecution. Yet history is filled with courageous souls who dared to raise their voices, to challenge injustice, to stand firm in the face of adversity. Think of those who fought for civil rights, those who challenged oppressive regimes, those who spoke truth to power, even when their voices trembled. They understood that righteousness often comes at a price, and they were willing to pay it. The path of righteousness is rarely smooth or easy. It's a path that demands courage, resilience, and an unwavering belief in something greater than ourselves. It's a path that calls us to speak up against injustice, to defend the vulnerable, to be a voice for the voiceless. And sometimes that path leads us through the fire of persecution. But even in the midst of those flames, there is a strength that comes from knowing we are aligned with truth, with justice, with the very heart of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. These words of Jesus remind us that the rewards of righteousness are not always earthly. They reside in the depths of our souls, in the unshakable knowledge that we have chosen the path of integrity, even when it was difficult. The kingdom of heaven isn't some distant paradise. It's a state of being, a place of peace and wholeness that resides within each and every one of us. And it's a kingdom that is open to all who seek it, regardless of the persecution they may face. When we stand firm in our beliefs, when we refuse to be swayed by the winds of opposition, we tap into that inner kingdom. We find strength in the face of adversity, courage in the face of fear, and an unwavering hope that sustains us through the darkest of times. So let us be those who stand up for what is right, even when it's difficult. Let us be the voice for the voiceless, the defenders of the vulnerable, the champions of justice. For in doing so, we not only build a better world around us, but we also cultivate the kingdom of heaven within our own hearts. Chapter 10. Outro. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Beatitudes, these timeless teachings that offer a roadmap to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. May these words of wisdom continue to resonate within you, inspiring you to cultivate humility, compassion, peace, and righteousness in all that you do. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content.